I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
These are some really great items, Sandra.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sandra, explain something. You seem to be very health conscious, yet every day you nuke yourself in order to attain an unnatural tan.
You're one of those people who thinks that tanning causes cancer, right?
Oh, you mean one of those smart people?
Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry Sutterby at the movies. So today I'm doing something I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to actually talk about a TV show, a failed pilot that came out in 1995. So this would fall under the Boob Wasteland show, which I used to do episodes of several years ago, but kind of stopped doing for a little while. So anyway, I may actually save it under the Boob Wasteland show. So consider this an episode of the Boob Wasteland show. So, Clerks was the failed 1995 TV pilot, starring Jim Breuer as Randall. This was obviously an offshoot of Kevin Smith's Clerks, which came out a year earlier, and which I consider really one of Kevin Smith's best films, for sure. This was produced by Touchstone Television, and was to be developed by Richard Day, and the pilot only referenced the character names, which they do, that's it, and starred none of the people from the original film, even though Jeff Anderson and Brian O'Halloran had auditioned to play their roles, Randall and Dante, respectively. So, obviously no foul language, because this is a TV show on a major network. And that's really all there is to it. There's really no Jay and Silent Bob in this TV pilot at all. It runs 22 minutes long. I watched it on YouTube, which is where it's been gaining, I guess, a little bit of popularity, based on the fact that what it's an offshoot of. And Kevin Smith obviously had nothing to do with the show. At the time, he was filming Mallrats. So he had very little involvement, I should say zero involvement, really, with this TV pilot. And once he and Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson saw the TV pilot, they were glad they weren't part of it. Now, this is an in-name show. In other words, yes, it uses the title Clerks. Yes, a couple of the characters are, there's even Veronica in this, who is Dante's girlfriend, do appear in this show. But the problem here is that not only is it in-name only, but it is generic with a capital G. And of course it has a laugh track. So the place looks like one of those outlet malls that you would find almost anywhere. It takes away the charm and really the grittiness too of the original Clerks, because if you remember, it was a quick stop, which is where Kevin Smith actually had been working while he was making this movie, Clerks. So, quick stop, and then the video rental store, which is where Randall works, right? So, Dante works at the quick stop. There you go. Now, they're right next door to each other, and the way it looked like a place that actually might exist. And of course it does, and still does. But this other one looked generic. It looked like any place that you would find in any mall, anywhere. A strip mall. It just has no character, no variety, no nothing. And the inside of it looks like any convenience store you would find almost anywhere. This is where Dante works. He doesn't even get to say the line, "I wasn't even supposed to be here today." And there's a character named Ray, who is supposed to be the silent, I think is supposed to be the J character.
Come on, Ray, you're not even trying.
What? Ah! Oh, old habit. No, I was going to pay for this, Dante.
Are we building an igloo, Raymond?
There are two scenes like that. They couldn't name the character Jay and use any Silent Bob character. So any of sort of the realism, in a sense, of the original Clerks film is lost in here. I mean, completely. Plus it's in color, which of course it would be. It's a TV show, but there is nothing here to remind you of Clerks. This TV show is kind of like if somebody was playing a prank on Kevin Smith and actually made a show out of it. That's what this show is. Jim Breuer plays Randall, and he is so far removed from the character that Jeff Anderson played. He doesn't even wear the hat or the cap, backwards. I mean, there is nothing there, and there's only one moment where you see that he's working at a video store, and he's watching a movie, which is Little Women, the 1994 remake, and he hates it. This blows. This sucks. Oh yeah, that sucks. This blows. That sucks. That's the level of the dialogue here. Kevin Smith's dialogue was so rich. It was obscene, but it had its own flavor. It really worked. It felt real to life. It also felt real in terms of retail, like somebody who had been in retail who knows what customers are like. Here, this film, there are some customers that come in, it's all anonymous, there's no interaction, no nothing. Now, the actress that plays Veronica, Noelle Parker, isn't bad, but and then you've got Andrew Lowry as Dante Hicks, and Jim Breuer plays Randall, and there's a guy named Bodie Elfman, or maybe it's Bodie Elfman, who plays Ray. Wow, very exciting. This cast is just not generic necessarily, but they just don't have enough to play with. Not enough color, not enough variety. A lot of the lines, they sound generic. There's no flavor to them. They just feel like TV sitcom. It feels like TV sitcom dialogue. And even if it's a TV sitcom, it doesn't have to feel like it's sitcom dialogue. You can bring a little realism. Kerry Russell also appears in this show, and there's another character. I think it's Rick Gomez, who plays Todd, and he works at a restaurant or a diner, and you never see what that place is. But of course, he's never there because they all interact inside of this convenience store, which of course is really one of the pleasures of the original Clerks film. But here, it is just generic. It is mediocre. There is nothing here that would remind you of Clerks. There's no sense of eavesdropping on these people, in a sense. Kind of Clerks had that, But you're better off watching this. Now, if you do see this TV sitcom, watch it, but remember, you may not even make it through all 22 minutes, and they feel long. So it's a little bit dreadful, to say the least. But this is certainly worth checking out. This is the Clerks animated series. This is actually very funny and very good. Of course, it's got the original cast, and it's written by Kevin Smith. This is the show to see. And it is a fitting reminder, even though, of course, it's very cartoonish, but it's a fitting reminder of the original Clerks. So, TV pilot of Clerks came and went. I think we can be thankful it never became a TV series. This pilot was never aired, and thank goodness for that. It all comes down to Dante, which is one of the differences from the film. Dante, in the film, he's kind of pushed by Veronica a little bit, like, you can do better with your life, but still remain true to who you are, and so on. And there's some of that in the film. In the TV show, you sense that he's applying for a job as an insurance agent because of his father, and we actually meet Dante's father. I mean, that's weird. And Veronica sort of pushes him that he, you know, basically they can go on dates and do something more constructive, you know, than just sitting around at the convenience store, and you know, so. But the job of the insurance agency, and then, you know, he's going for a job interview, and then I guess he decides not to go through with it, and then they decide to paint this water tower, which they did as a high school prank. Some of that reminded me a little bit of Clerks the film. Not that that ever happens in the film, but it had just a little touch, just a touch, but not enough. So, I don't know if I'm thankful that I finally saw this. I was reluctant to watch this pilot, but if you do watch it, tell me what you think, if you have seen it, or if you're planning to. I will put the link below, reluctantly, but you may as well check it out, if you are a fan of Clerks or Kevin Smith's work. So, anyway, that's all I got to say about this. You're better off watching Clerks all over again. Far better in every respect. This is just mediocre junk. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's mediocre. It's bland. It is generic. Like many TV shows, particularly during the 90s. So, there you go. That's my look at Clerks, and you got to see a couple of clips. Alright. Let me your thoughts. Tell me what you think if you've seen this, or what you think of Kevin Smith in general. What do you think of Clerks if you've seen it? Any of the sequels, or particularly the original film, or the animated series, which are far better than this TV pilot. So let me your thoughts. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and hit that notification bell for any future uploads, which of course will be forthcoming. And those are my thoughts, and this is Jerry Senevi at the Movies, signing off.
Break lotion? There's nothing in this stuff that could... Ow! What? Ow! Ow! I'm melting! I'm melting!